everybody. Here we go. Hi there. Carson Meredith with you on this Sunday night. It is 7:30. How are you? Hope you've had a good weekend. Hopefully you have been able to stay warm. It wasn't bad today. We were back in the 40s. First time we've had that in a week. But we've got a lot of ups and downs ahead. And there are some snow chances to discuss too, including tonight. Now, this is not going to be a huge deal overnight tonight, but it's one of those sneaky setups, as you guys know. And it's always these small little bursts that move through that always seem to cause the most trouble. So we'll talk about our setup for tonight into tomorrow morning. We'll talk about what we're watching towards the middle of the week. And then, of course, that huge blast of Arctic cold air that is on track to arrive next weekend. So a blast of snow here or there, and then maybe or definitely all that cold air moving in here in about 5 to 7 days. So here we go. There's radar tonight. Quite honestly, when I put my graphics together earlier this evening, I thought I'd have a little more to show you at this point, but I don't. There is not much happening at this hour. There have been a couple little sprinkles that have flared up. You can barely see it in our far eastern counties. Maybe out towards Marion County a little while ago. That's about it. We have not seen as much drizzle today as we thought we might, which is good. We've been pretty dry. But we'll start to see that risk for drizzle and then eventually rain showers and then eventually a wintry mix ramp up as the night goes on. And I do think by the time you'll see us again tonight at whenever football is done on Wave News, we'll be tracking a little bit of everything on radar. But for now, all is quiet. We'll zoom things out, and you notice the cold front is already moving through. So it's starting to get cooler. You notice here at the top of the screen and the banner, you got to look real close. It's small font, but the wind's out of the north now here in Louisville, so that colder air is moving in. It's 42 degrees here in town. But there's going to be basically a little shortwave scooting through the region tonight, kind of following the coattails, if you will, of this front. And that's where our wintry mix potential comes into play overnight tonight and early on your Monday. Basically, these rain and snow showers are going to start to develop right on top of us. And it'll take a few hours for them to move out as we go into the early part of your Monday. Right now, it's fine. It's cloudy, cool, not cold, at least comparatively speaking, from where we have been. As we mentioned, the temperature is 42. You notice the weather icon suggests fog. Again, that might be some of that drizzle starting to develop, but more than anything else, it's likely some of those lower stratus clouds starting to take control as that front moves in, or has moved through, I should say. And you can tell the cooler air is moving in up in Indiana. We're down to the 30s up in Paoli, Salem, Seymour, North Vernon, Madison, Bedford, Jasper, so on and so forth. But as we go through this evening and overnight, it is going to take some time for everybody to drop to freezing and then below freezing. So that's going to help limit our road issues in the morning. And I didn't want to scare you guys by giving you that heads up about some slick spots in the morning, because most roads will be fine tomorrow morning. Any of those roads that are like settled into the ground, that aren't bridges, that aren't overpasses, will likely just stay wet, because most of the snow will be falling with those temperatures still near or just above freezing, and with those pavement temperatures near or just above freezing. It's going to be an isolated issue for bridges and overpasses in a few spots. Not every bridge is going to have black ice in the morning. It'll mainly be those ones that aren't traveled as much or aren't treated that we'll have to keep an eye on in the morning. Overnight tonight, I've got a forecast low of 29 degrees, and that's really not going to be until 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Just kind of give you an idea of how slow this temperature drop is going to be. So we'll stay near or above freezing for most of the night. So while this mix is happening, while the snow is starting to fall, we'll still be hovering around 33, maybe 34. It won't be until 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning before we start to see those temperatures try to get down towards 31, 30, and eventually 29. So when we go hour by hour over the next 12, you notice it's a 30% chance through about 2 a.m. I may have to drop that down a tiny bit because we're not seeing much right now, but I do expect to see rain showers to start here in the next 2 hours. And then as we get closer to news time tonight, we'll likely have that mix come into play with that colder air moving into southern Indiana. And then we get past 2 or 3 a.m., we'll slowly but surely see that transition to all snow. Briefly, it's not going to last too terribly long in any given spot. And it's not going to be heavy snow like we had last Tuesday. It's not going to be a big burst of snow or anything like that. There's not a ton of moisture with this front. So it's really going to have to squeeze out what it can with the mix or the snowflakes overnight tonight into the early morning hours of Monday. So you see that 40% chance from about 2 to 6 a.m. That's kind of the window where most of the precipitation will be falling. And then we get after 6 a.m., that coverage starts to drop. Perhaps a few lingering flurries, not enough to cause huge problems. Most of the snowflakes are out of here by about 10 o'clock Monday morning. All right. So this is not a big deal, but it's sneaky, where you have these little dustings or half-inch events that always seem to cause some trouble. It's not a guarantee we'll have trouble in the morning. It's still something to pay attention to. So I would just encourage you to add an extra 5 minutes on your morning drive, and you should be okay. Let's pause, look at the comments. Who's here tonight? Anna's here. Hello. DJ King up in North Vernon. What's up? Very happy Adam, I'm sure, up in Bloomington. How about the Hoosiers? Never thought I'd live to see the day, Adam, that Indiana is the 1 seed in the playoffs. But congratulations. What a year. What a year going to the Rose Bowl for their start of their playoff hunt. Let's see. Hello. Yes, some of the NFL teams that won today. Surprised that New Orleans won. Joshua on YouTube, no good snows in the 10-day. By good snows, I guess you mean big snows, Josh. And yes, that is true. That is true. But there are a lot of smaller opportunities that pose that chance for at least some accumulations, including tonight. And maybe some better opportunities towards the end of the week that we'll discuss shortly. Let's see. Obviously, we don't make calls on schools, right? General idea about any road issues in the metro in the morning. Good question. If we're going to see any trouble, again, I think the main roads will be fine. I truly believe that. The main roads will be okay. The trouble might come into play with any bridges or overpasses that aren't treated or they're not traveled as much. Maybe you live in a more rural part of Jefferson County or up in Oldham County, Bullitt County. You live in a more rural area, you cross a little bridge that goes over a small creek, something like that. That's where you could have some trouble. And I would say from about 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. here in the metro is when we might have a couple of isolated issues. It's not going to be a widespread trouble. It's not going to be an ice rink on the roads. There just could be a few trouble spots here or there, especially in that 5 to 8 a.m. window, right as those temperatures are starting to dip below freezing. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Angela's here. Hello, hello. Angie's here up in Lanesville. Shout out to Harrison County. Ashley up in Crothersville wants to go back to summer. The countdown is on already, I'm sure, for a lot of you. And we're still technically in fall, you know. Technically. Couple more weeks until the winter solstice. Michael's asking about the wind chill on Wednesday. Hold that thought, Michael. I'm going to show you the 10-day, and we'll focus on the wind chills then. So sit tight if you don't mind. Shonda says hello. Sean's here over in Middletown. Been having sinus headaches for 2 weeks off and on. Does this weather play a factor? Yes. Yes, it does. I know because I haven't been dealing with it as constantly as you have, but I've had them from time to time for sure. Definitely plays a factor. All right. We'll pause the commas because I don't want to bore you guys too much. and we'll keep on going. So here's Futurecast, all right? Right now, not a ton. Kind of that misty stuff, perhaps, a little drizzle, low clouds. That's about it. And this, by the way, is the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh, which did a really good job last Tuesday. Did pretty good with that snowfall event. So as we keep on going, this is 1 a.m. and you start to see Futurecast light up just a bit. Further south you are tonight, at first, basically south of Louisville, you're going to start with the cold rain. All right? So Shepherdsville, E-Town, Bardstown, Litchfield, Mumfordville, Hodgenville, Lebanon, so on and so forth. You guys will just start with the cold rain. The battle line with that rain and snow is going to be right over I-64 overnight, or after midnight, I should say. Midnight, about 1 o'clock in the morning. So here in the metro, with the heat island, we may be seeing more just cold rain, but there could be perhaps a few sleet pellets mixing in around 1 a.m. The initial stages of this will only have all snow in southern Indiana. So up here towards Paoli, Salem, Scottsburg, Madison, Hanover, down towards Henryville, Borden, Memphis. That's where we're initially going to start off with mostly snow by around midnight or 1 a.m. So that's where things are at 1. Here's 5 a.m. You can tell that colder air is moving in from the north and west. So the rain-snow line is, or the mix line, I don't want to say just rain-snow, the mix line is all the way down towards Lebanon, Campbellsville, Greensburg, Mumfordville by 5 a.m. in the morning. And here in the metro and along the parkways, we've got a brief little bit of snow. Not going to last more than 3 hours, 4 hours. But again, it's going to be rather light. There's not a ton of moisture for this system to work with. And as we've talked about, snow may be falling, but those temperatures will be very marginal. In other words, they're not going to be way below freezing. I think at 5 a.m. in Louisville, we're probably hovering around 32 or 33. Most of you will be around that 32-degree marks, which means most roads will be fine. The one wild card with this, where we may have more widespread issues, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, it's just a possibility, is if we do wind up seeing slightly heavier burst of snow that might be able to drag down those temperatures a little faster, and then you may have to start worrying more about a flash freeze. I don't anticipate that right now, okay? I think the temperature drop will be fairly slow, but it'll still be enough to see that transition from rain at first, a wintry mix at first, to briefly all snow before sunrise in the morning. 8 a.m., I think most of the action is done here in Louisville. If anything, we've just got some lingering flurries east of town. Shelbyville, Frankfort, Bardstown, Lebanon, Campbellsville, still seeing some flurries after 8 a.m. And then by 10, we're done. It's going to take a long time for clouds to move out tomorrow. In fact, I think most of the day is cloudy. But there could be a few peaks of sun you see out here to the west around lunchtime Monday in Illinois. Some of those sun breaks could sneak their way into our area late tomorrow afternoon. But again, this is not a huge deal. This is not a winter storm at all. There's not even a winter weather advisory at this point. It's just something you kind of have to keep in the back of your mind when you're heading out in the morning. Our accumulation forecast, not a big deal. If we're going to see any accumulations, it'll be those areas that start off with a wintry mix or all snow at first tonight, which would be up towards Paoli, Salem, Seymour, Madison, and further south down towards 64. So here in Louisville, we'll start off with either a cold rain or a mix. We'll go to snow probably around 3 or 4 a.m. Might be enough time to get a quick little coating, maybe a half inch. I think that's going to be the high end of snowfall totals tonight, is a half inch. I don't expect anybody to get around an inch of snow. Definitely don't expect 2 inches or anything like that. Half inch at most. along I-64 north. Down further south, there's not going to be enough time for that snow to accumulate by the time it gets out. So that's where we are at this stage of the game for tomorrow morning. And again, the main issue is just going to be a few slick spots on bridges and overpasses here or there. Most roads will be fine. Most bridges and overpasses will be fine. It's just some of those in your neighborhood streets, your side roads that don't get traveled a lot, that don't get treated a lot, could develop some bit of an icy glaze in the morning. So we'll watch it. Tawana's going to be tracking it for you all morning on sunrise, and we'll go from there. All right, here comes the 10-day. There's so much I want to talk about in the 10-day that I just want to jump right to it in the long term, okay? So I'll let you digest it for a minute, and then we'll roll through some comments. Let's see. Michelle's watching down at the Breckenridge Meade County line. Got some drizzle. Thanks for that report, Michelle. That helps. So now we're starting to see that drizzle filter in. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Let's see. Sean's got either fog or drizzle in Middletown. Sean, maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. Appreciate that. Noodlehead's here. Hello, hello. Got some sprinkles out in Perryville. Gary up in Pewee Valley. How we doing tonight? Justin will not be licking any light poles this week. Shout out Christmas Story. And that is a very good idea, my friend, because as we get towards the end of the week, it hurts just looking at Saturday, right? I have 24, lows in the low teens. Ouch. Now, before we get there, we're going to talk about the cold. But before we get there, I want to focus on Wednesday first. Wednesday is the warmest day we will see for a while, my friends. High of 50 in Louisville, 40s elsewhere, upper 40s. But it will be a very blustery day on Wednesday. In fact, we're going to be teetering with wind advisory criteria for much of the day on Wednesday. Wind advisories are for wind gusts over 40 miles an hour for a certain amount of time. And you notice those gusts for most of the day will be 30, 35, maybe up to 38 miles an hour. It's a southwest breeze on Wednesday. So, Adam, you're asking about Wednesday wind chills earlier. We don't really have to worry about wind chills on Wednesday. It's going to be a warmer breeze, relatively speaking. But this is enough to wreak havoc on your inflatables outside. So if you got any inflatable holiday decor, anchor them down really good or just shut them down for the day on Wednesday, because if they're not anchored down good, they will go flying Wednesday afternoon. All right. So that's Wednesday. There will also be a few rain showers early Wednesday. Just rain showers, it appears. Let's go to Thursday. All right. There's that rain shower chance I was talking about for Wednesday, mainly early in the day. Not a big deal. We get into Wednesday night, however, that colder air starts to take control again. And the European model, which is what you're seeing here, has started to suggest today that there may be these sort of lake effect streamers that try to sneak into our counties Wednesday night, especially southern Indiana, where you kind of get that fetch from, I guess in this case, Lake Michigan, that is in the exact sweet spot for us to get maybe a few snow showers into southern Indiana. That's Wednesday night. The European model is the only one suggesting this right now, so I'm not going crazy about it. It is just something to monitor, though, as we get towards Wednesday night with that colder air returning again. Now, let's keep going. This is Thursday. This is Thursday evening. Here comes this clipper that we've been watching for a while now. Most models are starting to agree on Thursday evening, Thursday night, into Friday morning with this particular clipper. Accumulations, I do think there could be some. It's just hard to nail down at this point exactly how much we might be looking at. This does not look like a winter storm. Like we said earlier, there's no huge snows coming up. But there's a lot of littler or smaller. There's a lot of smaller opportunities for some snow. This is one of them. Thursday evening, going into the overnight hours, early Friday, just a like classic clipper, just zoop, zooms right through. It's out of here by Friday morning. Could still be enough, though, for a quick accumulation. So we'll watch the trends. Here's kind of a general idea. And you notice that this cuts off at midnight Thursday night, so it doesn't give you the full picture, but you get the idea. There is going to be that chance for a light accumulation Thursday night into Friday morning. A better chance than what we have tonight. I think this has a better opportunity for 1, maybe 2 inches of snow. We'll see. But do keep in mind, this is going to be much, much colder air moving in. The colder the air is, the drier the air is, generally speaking. So there may not be a ton of moisture to work with this clipper on Thursday night. But the chance is there. And I know that's all a lot of you guys care about. All right, then we get into the weekend. And the weekend hurts. Next weekend is going to hurt. Highs in the 20s. And guys, that may be a stretch, especially if you live outside of Louisville. There is a possibility that you could stay in the teens all day Saturday. That is very much on the table, especially if we have a little bit of a snowpack from that Thursday night clipper. And there's some models suggesting a Friday night clipper. So if we get 2 clippers in a row, then yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a snowpack. And that high of 24 that we've got right now may be too warm. It may be more like 20, 21. So it's going to be hard to get out of the teens on Saturday. When you factor in wind chills, I think wind chills all day Saturday will be in the teens during the day. During the morning on Saturday, those wind chills could very well be below 0. Especially in southern Indiana. Single digits, no question, with those wind chills. But I'm becoming more confident we'll have some negatives, some minuses on the map with that wind chill Saturday morning especially. Saturday is the coldest day in this spell. You get towards Sunday, 28 is better than 24, right? So we'll slowly but surely recover as we head into the following week. We're back up into to near 40, I should say, by next Wednesday, which is December 17th. But it's going to take a while to get out of that hole once we get into it next weekend. But the worst of the cold is Friday night and Saturday. Lows in the single digits and low teens, wind chills near or below 0 Saturday morning. And then during the day Saturday, highs in the teens and low 20s, wind chills in the teens everywhere all day. So definitely a big shot of Arctic air on the way. But thankfully, it's not sticking around for days and days and days and days. Because we're going to slowly climb back to the 30s and hopefully the 40s into that middle week of December. So lots of ups and downs, lots of small opportunities for snow on the way. But if you're looking for anything blockbuster, not in the cards right now. However, it does get cold again, it looks like, as we get closer to Christmas. We'll see what happens as we get towards then. Back to the comments as you digest the 10-day. Storm Chaser Jason, hello, hello. I'm doing good. Hope you all are too. Bots, even if it's just a little. Take what you can get, right? Hello from Indiana, Gene. Hope you're well. Tammy says hi from PRP. Karen says howdy. Howdy, howdy. That's Weather Geek, isn't it? I think that's Weather Geek. See, they messed me up with changing the display name for you guys on YouTube. Instead of your names, it's your handles. That's all right. Looking for questions. Justin, yes. Double blankets and relaxing. I agree. Christopher's got some drizzle in Frankfurt. So a lot of you guys, it looks like now, are starting to see that drizzle. And, that's the tricky thing about drizzle. It's really low, So a lot of times the radar beam will shoot over that drizzle and not pick it up. So the radar map may look empty, but it's drizzling, right? That happens quite a bit. Let's see what else we got here. Noodlehead, yeah. Will there be a wind chill Saturday too? No question. I think that wind chill's in the teens all day on Saturday. But it could very well start off as wind chills in below zero in a few spots. I think that is certainly on the table. Stephen, hello. Do you see a pattern shift after that 17th window? So the end of the 10-day. Is it more colder? Is it colder? Yes, it does look like we'll get another shot of colder air towards the end of the month. I haven't really had the time. I got back from vacation last night, so I haven't had a ton of time to look at the long-term stuff, but it does look like we will get cooler again towards the end of the month, which could make things a little interesting towards Christmas. I haven't looked at a ton, but it might make things a little interesting. Adam, chances we go below zero with air temps up towards Bloomington. It's possible, Adam, up towards Bloomington. I don't think it's likely. Based on what I'm seeing, I think you guys up there will probably hover near 5 above, 7 above. Wind chills will definitely be below zero. No question, up towards Bloomington. Actual temps, I'm not sold on that right now. But again, if we get a snowpack if we get any snow tonight, it's going to melt Tuesday and Wednesday. But if we get any snowpack Thursday night and or Friday night, maybe you guys get close to zero up there. It's very possible. We'll see. So Tanya's asking about when's that snow going to melt if it gets here Thursday night? It'll be a while, Tanya. It won't be, until that following Monday at the earliest, because once we go below freezing Thursday night, guys, we're not getting above freezing again until maybe, for a lot of you, that following Tuesday. So that's what? 4 solid days below freezing. So that once that snow comes Thursday night, if it does, it's going to be here for a while. Let's see. A few more questions and we'll call it a night. Charles is ready to head to Florida. Yeah, this cold makes it rough on sinuses, arthritis, whatever you're battling with. Ray, can we look back at the Thursday Clipper? Sure. Yeah, we got time. So this is Wednesday. You see it first. This is the rain, Wednesday morning. Wednesday night, there's a possibility we can get some lake effect streamers that scoot through. So we'll watch that. That looks minor. Here's the Clipper Thursday evening off to our west. And it's just going to zip on through like all Clippers do. With perhaps a light accumulation. I think this setup Thursday night has a much better chance for accumulations than tonight. Much better chance. Not ready to put a number on it. That's not a winter storm. I can tell you that. But it does have a decent chance for a light accumulation, no doubt. And then it should be mostly out of here by Friday morning. Here's kind of a general idea of where there may be a snowpack. And you notice it's right on top of us, right? So the chance is certainly there. Hopefully that all made sense for you, right? Appreciate the question. Yes, Tammy's a good friend of mine and my family's. Bring the pets inside. Please. 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 Thank you. Noodlehead, White Christmas. It's too early to say. Again, it looks colder, but it's too early to say if it's going to be a white Christmas or anything like that. Remember, the chances are always slim in wave country. All right. We all good? Type 5 if y'all are good tonight. All that info made sense. Prelude. Snow ratios Thursday night. It's going to be a drier snow because of that Arctic air moving in. That's why I think accumulations will be light. And it's a fast-moving system, too. It's a clipper. It's not going to be around for days on end. All right. Here come the fives. Good. Lots of fives. All right. Cool. Good. Good deal. All right, y'all. That's all I got tonight. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot to track over the next week or so. And obviously, we'll be here to do just that. So be careful in the morning. Again, most roads are fine. We'll be fine. There just may be few bridges and overpasses, especially if you live out in the country. That's how we talk around here. If you live out in the country, there may be a few slick spots on bridges and overpasses, especially on those. But most roads should be okay. Maybe get just a little more of a coating after all that snow melted from last week. Satisfy you snow lovers a little bit. And then we get towards the end of the week and the next weekend, and it gets cold. It gets real cold. Welcome back. Yeah, thank you. Took a little road trip down south this weekend, back towards my old stomping grounds. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was very, very good. All right. Appreciate the kind words, Sean. Appreciate you always watching. And all of you guys that watch us on weekends. That's going to do it for now. Appreciate you stopping by. Y'all know the drill. We got Sunday Night Football tonight. Big game. Houston and Kansas City. Hopefully we're on before midnight, but we've been struggling with that this season. So if you're still up late tonight, we hope you'll tune in on Wave News. If not, Tawano has you covered on Sunrise in the morning, and Be Good will be here with Snow Talk at his normal time as well. Hang on a second. Let me pop back up real quick because Adam has a good question. As far as any alert days are concerned, it's hard to say if we'll have extreme cold alerts next weekend because the criteria is about it's wind chills 10 below or lower, and it's air temperatures 0 or lower, below 0, basically. I'm not sold on that down in wave country. Now, up your way, you guys may get a wind chill extreme cold advisory. Remember, they changed the name of it. So we may have an extreme cold alert up towards Indianapolis. I'm not so sure we'll get one down here, though. But advisory or not, it's going to be really dang cold as we head towards next weekend. All right, now we're good. Hopefully everything made sense. I hope you all have a good night. And we'll catch you guys throughout the week. And I'll be back here next weekend. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.